What's good, y'all? This is Spanky, and today we're here to bring my old collection back to life. This is my old binder that I made back when I was still collecting Pokemon, back in the early 2000s. I don't know the rhyme or reason of why I organized the way these did. Obviously, I put my holos first. You see a few missing. That's just like my Charizard, Venusaur, the starters that I took out of there, maybe a few others, or they're just missing completely. These obviously bring back a lot of memories. Back from when I was a kid. I don't know if I have a complete collection. I'm here to find that out today. I got some first edition mixed in there, along with some others. Let me fix this. But you may have seen a video where I dug this out of my closet. Obviously a big fan of Scyther, which is funny because my firstborn son is also a big fan of Scyther. I don't know what the connection is, but my connection there being that this was actually the first holo, not that I pulled, but that I traded for. I remember being mad at my neighborhood friend because I got a Pidgeot as my first holo, and he had a Scyther. And I was like, man, you ripped me off. You knew Pidgeot was rarer than Scyther because I kept pulling a bunch of Scythers. But in the end, I was like, you know what? Scyther's way cooler than Pidgeot. So who really cares? I mean, I got a lot of stories about these. I knew that at one point that I had a Hollow Blaine's Charizard that was stolen from me by another neighborhood quote-unquote friend. He claimed that I traded a Hollow Hitmonchan for it. I don't know. I don't think that's true because I know we were all pulling Japanese packs before, you know, those gym sets were ever released. And I thought it was the coolest card ever, and I think he was jealous. And I remember, I look back, this was about the end of my Pokemon collecting career as a Pokemon collecting as a kid, and I confronted him, and he claimed that I traded for it, and I was just like, man, there's just absolutely no way. For some reason, that squirrel's upside down. There's a couple in here. I got some stories. Let's see. I know if I can find that Sabrina's Gengar, the same kid that, obviously he wasn't the best moral high ground for me. That Sabrina's Gengar, we actually went to a mire, and we got it into our heads that we were going to steal Pokemon cards. So this is when Pokemon cards were actually in the aisle, and we were just going in the aisle before there's cameras everywhere. We went and snatched a bunch of packs. We probably went back a couple times, and we went to the clothing and hiding the clothing. We were just ripping open packs and stealing cards, you know. Things you do as a kid, I guess. I'm not condoning it. Kids, don't steal cards. That's bad. I had these all in the magnetic snap cases, thinking that was the best protection for them. Then someone thankfully commented, said, hey, don't put them in those, it'll actually bend the cards. I kept them in there for maybe a year, and I noticed that the cards may have actually had some bends, so I hurried up and put them in some top loaders with some nice sleeves. But I did not have very good binder etiquette as a kid. So my holos I did put in sleeves as a kid. Got some old, maybe these might be penny sleeves. No, these are perfect sleeves, but I do have them double sleeved, I guess, to save some space here. Man, these old holos are amazing. But unfortunately, when they weren't hollow, I did not put them in sleeves, and I did not have very good binder etiquette. Etiquette, that's a hard word for me. So kids, just so you know, make sure you have binder etiquette, or else you could be catching STDs, scratches, tears, or dings in your cards. So make sure that you sleeve your cards to prevent yourself from getting those STDs. My plan is to re-sleeve all of these and put it in this beautiful Ultra Pro Arceus binder. At one point, I didn't really know what jungle and base set were as a kid. I mean, I did, but I didn't like know that about sets, I guess you could say. And I had all these kind of on the corner, these little stickers. I don't know where I got these from. They must have been from some like video game, probably video game like walkthrough book. And I had them on the corner, and I was trying to collect all 151. And believe it or not, this was actually the last card that I needed. And I know that because I told my dad. I said, hey, Dad, there is a Chansey at the mall. It's right here by this store. Go there. It's in this corner. Like, I told my dad, I gave him like exact directions he could write down exactly. And I was like, Dad, that's the last card I need. I can stop collecting. My dad was probably like, all right, bet. And I just remember I walked into my room and there was this lying on my pillow. So my dad had actually went and got the card for me that I needed and laid it for me on my pillow, and this was the last card that I needed to complete the set of the original 151. So I'm really proud of this card. I'm really happy to have that. Just the rush of emotions, kind of flipping through pages. There's also a part of me that doesn't want to take it out of this old binder. This is kind of almost like it's frozen in time. This is where I had it, but as again, you can catch STDs. Obviously, the binder is the sleeves are kind of, or the pages are hanging out the bottom there a little bit, as you can tell. Actually bought all these from, it's a Canadian company, Comic Pro Line card sleeves. They're kind of thick. So if you know what Mylar is, if you're a comic book collector, these kind of have like a Mylar feeling to them. It says 2mm crystal clear OPP. So I actually use these for my comic book and bags and boards, and I really like the way they look on there. The clearness on this, like, it almost gives it like an extra shine, extra life compared to these. Even compared to these sleeves, these are newer sleeves I put on these. You'll see that it kind of gives it, this electrode just looks a little bit shiny. Obviously, they came from about the same time in my life, but these sleeves look really good. And I got all of these for 70 cents, and I bought 10 of them. So I paid $7 for 1,000 of these, so more than enough that I need. You know, bulk is bulk until it's vintage, and then it's no longer bulk. Let's protect these cards so they don't get any more STDs on them as I'm flipping these pages. Some of my last time, I guess, not times, flipping through these, getting that old feel, and giving these a proper home. Officially done sleeving all of these cards. I guess there was, let's see, I got 1, 2, 3.5 of those, so somewhere between 600 and 700 cards. I may have mentioned it before. Like I said, this took a few nights, so I don't remember what I said a few nights ago. This was full of about 300 cards or so, and I didn't realize how many like gym cards I had. I thought I was out of the game. I love this gym series though, so I'm glad I got that. I got a little bit of, I realized there's Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge, and somehow along the line I totally forgot that. So the next part, I'm going to time lapse. I'm going to separate everything. So base set, fossil, I'm gonna time lapse that, and then we'll move it all into the RCS binder. There's almost a year gap between when I started this video and now that I'm completing it. It's not because it took me that long. It's just that I kind of fell out of the whole YouTube phase a little bit. Now I'm kind of getting back into it. And then, you know, since then I've actually completed my manga sleeve. It's full now. You might notice that little difference. I noticed it while watching the old video. But this is half of the collection. I ended up having to buy another 12 pocket binder because it ended up being a lot bigger than I thought, my old collection. So I kind of filled this up. I put it's kind of the base set, like Fossil, Jungle, and the older one, the oldest ones, and then kind of just went from old to new. I wasn't sure where a lot of these went. It's just my collection was kind of everywhere as a kid. Got a lot of cool Japanese stuff in here, as you can see, and then some mid-era stuff that I kind of hung on to. There might have been some stuff in here when I actually started collecting, like Black and White was big, and then kind of fell out of again. Oh, I love that Scyther card. That's really cool. Is reflection too bad? Let me see what I can do about that. That's a little bit better. So this is the less exciting binder. I don't know if I showed these in the first half of the video. It's pretty cool. Movie cards that I had, and then just some other stuff that I had in there. And then I put the Digimon cards. And I just didn't want to fill it up. I kind of want to leave it how it is. I already kind of messed with the original collection more than I wanted to. And I just kind of, I'm not going to fill in those back pages. Just kind of how I have it, and it's how I like it. But let's get to the good stuff. So for the really good stuff, I had to go with the OG Pikachu. I just felt better. since this is all Gen 1 type stuff. And it's kind of hard to film a 12-page binder, I've learned. So, but I didn't. My collection was kind of weak as a kid. These are the only Howls I had. At least I think. Maybe I look as I go on. No, this is just base set. But it's kind of, it was. I didn't have any complete sets. I do remember vaguely that I sold a lot of them, like the common, uncommon cards, in a garage sale. I had them in a shoebox, and I just remember some lady, and I regret it. This is why I remember it, saying that we'd sell the whole box for like probably $5. It's just a shoebox full of uncommon, base set and early sets of cards that I just sold. Kind of, but I really like how this turned out. Um, my cards are better protected. A lot of them are in better shape than I thought they were. I think this looks really good. I like the binder. I like the sleeves I chose, and it just brings back a lot of good feelings, nostalgia. Taken out of that old binder, I don't regret it. I kind of like the way this big page spread. It just looks good. It just reminds me of good times as a kid. All the stories I told earlier in the video. It's just really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. A lot of good memories. A lot of crazy memories. Some good, some bad. I think I shared all my stories in the beginning. Like I said, there's a huge gap between when I made this video and the other one. It's good to see that I had some cool first edition cards. It's hard to show. Boom. Oh, now I got reflection. So, but these are first editions in here. I got a lot of Rocket first editions. I think I was a little bit older and knew what I was doing, what I was collecting. But just really cool stuff, man. I really love this old Gym Hero set. I think this is probably, looking back on this, probably one of my favorite sets. The cards are just amazing. They're immaculate. They're great. Um, but I think my goal as a kid wasn't necessarily completing sets. I don't think I understood that. It was more I need to get one of each Pokemon. And I think to me that was a completed set. If I got all 151 Pokemon, it didn't matter what set they were from. I just wanted all 151. Look at these. They got two different gym sets back then? I learned. I didn't even know that. I just learned that again. Well, I did know it eventually as I grew up, but there was Gym Heroes and there was two different gym sets. But as a kid, they were both the same kind of. But I love these old gym sets. They're great. These are some of my promos and Japanese holos that I really liked. Houndoom's one of my favorite, but I just kind of kept these in here. I want to kind of preserve my childhood there. Um, so all these will stay in here. And I've kind of thought about grading them all and having some cool display, but it's obviously way too many. And then I don't want to just grade just the holos and then split up the collection. I didn't want to do that. I kind of just want to have them all together. Man, but the old Dark Dragonite Jock, I think everyone was a little bit let down the new set, and they didn't do Dark. They just did Team Rocket stuff. But I just really thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly recommend everyone kind of do this. If you find your collection, give it some love, some good binder behavior, as Pat would say. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.